President Wilson, Morehouse family and guests, good morning. On behalf of Dr. Lawrence Edward Carter, Dean of the Martin Luther King Jr. International Chapel, and the 28th Martin Luther King Jr. College of Ministers and Laity, I am pleased to call the roll of the 2013 class of inductees into the Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers, Sponsors, and Collegium of Scholars. As I call your names, would you please stand and remain standing until the roll call is completed? I ask that the audience please hold your applause until all of the names have been called. The Reverend Charles Christian Adams, the Reverend William G. Ashworth, Dr. Freddie Azenor, the Reverend Hardy Spurgeon Bennings III, Reverend Dr. Stephen G. Blunt, Bishop Donald R. Cook Sr., the Reverend Donald R. Cook II, the Reverend Dr. Christopher Bernard Davis Sr., Dr. Harley Etienne, Bishop David G. Evans, Reverend Dr. Lucille P. Farrell Scott, the Reverend Joseph Charles Taylor Flippin, the Reverend Mark Asiedu Frimpong, Reverend Dr. Christopher M. Hamlin, Reverend Dr. Edward R. Harper, the Reverend Robert Allen Hill, Reverend Dr. Jameson Douglas Heitch Hunter, Miss Catherine J. Kennedy, Bishop Lawrence L. Kirby, Reverend Dr. Adolphus C. Lacey, Mr. Shawan Lee, Mrs. Ruth P. Manning, Miss Veronica Martini, Reverend Dr. Darren McKinney, Bishop Matthew Norwood, Miss Lisa Parsons, Dr. Irene Rizzini, the Reverend Ruth Broyd Sharon, the Reverend Martha Jane Simmons, Bishop Nikki Paul Starling, Dr. Lawrence E. Sullivan, Reverend Dr. Joanne Marie Terrell, Dr. Susan Ushitel, the Reverend Beryl Monroe Whipple. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give these recipients an applause.
Please remain standing, and you may follow along with me in your programs as I give you your charge. Those of you in the audience may read along silently if it is in your program. Today is the 45th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s passing into the light. At Boston University, both Dr. King and I were taught by Peter A. Bertacci. He taught us that love is not a virtue. He told us that love is the norm that makes all virtue possible. Our theme for today is love and forgiveness in action. And our program is dedicated to Mr. John Fetzer, founder of the Fetzer Institute in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And on founding the Institute, Mr. Fetzer said, "Love is the core energy that rules everything. Love is the one ingredient that holds us all together." Those two statements, from Peter Bertocci and John Fetzer, are in agreement. I hope you will remember them. And now the charge. The Morehouse religious tradition was founded by William Jefferson White in 1867 and was greatly enhanced by Henry Lyman Morehouse, Charles Thomas Walker, John Hope, Adam Daniel Williams. It reached its zenith during the tenure of Benjamin Elijah Mays. Strong, learned leadership came from Mordecai Wyatt Johnson, Howard Washington Thurman, Floyd McKissick, Samuel Woodrow Williams, Charles Radford Lawrence, Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr., and Thomas Kilgore. Because the crises of character education and character values in America require more ethically and spiritually oriented role models and moral examples, I am pleased to induct you into the Morehouse College prophetic religious tradition. The Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers, Board of Sponsors, and Collegium of Scholars, and do hereby charge and challenge you to be affirmative and appreciative, coherently critical examples for this generation of students, always remembering that our vision is the creation of an inclusive global society in which the full development of each individual's potential is the central goal. I charge you to be faithful, servant, scholar leaders, guarantors of continuity, celebrators of change, negotiators of structure, and facilitators of meaning, with the hope that we can right age-old wrongs that continue to haunt the American people and the world. Lastly, I charge you to use your time, talent, tender, testimonies, and technology to help usher in an age of peace and nonviolence for the children of the world, to raise another generation of morally inspired leaders committed to building the beloved world community, in token of which you are now given these citations, which list 20 global ethical principles by which Dr. King and many Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs, and scientists live their lives and transform the world, testifying to this investiture and in witness whereof, under the seals of the college and the chapel, the signatures of duly authorized officers are hereunto affixed, this 4th day of April, 2013. Par nostrum Jesum Christum. Won't you now give them a round of applause? And now I invite to the book board the 11th president of Morehouse College, Dr. John Sylvanus Wilson, Jr.
Good morning, Morehouse. Last evening at the Gandhi King Ikeda Community Builders Prize Ceremony and Interfaith Assembly, I had the opportunity to meet His Holiness, Sri Ravi Shankar, and I heard him speak. I was moved by his remarks about nonviolence as a vocation, and I believe that you too will be inspired by his philosophy. A native of southern India, Sri is renowned as a spiritual leader, humanitarian, and social activist. In 1981, he founded the Art of Living Foundation, an educational and humanitarian non-governmental organization that collaborates with the United Nations through a special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. With presence in 151 countries, the Art of Living Foundation seeks and implements conflict resolution for individuals, communities, and nations. Volunteers of this organization have been working in Iraq since 2003 to promote the physical and emotional well-being of the Iraqi people. And they successfully executed programs in Kosovo to promote dialogue between those on opposing sides of the ethnic divide. In 1997, Sri also founded the International Association for Human Values to present programming that shapes leaders and reduces stress so that human values might flourish in people and their communities. The association is registered in 17 countries and continues to conduct service projects and raise funds for disaster relief initiatives globally. Sri has touched the lives of more than 300 million, drawing people of different traditions and faith together in spiritual communion. He is credited with being the first leader since Mahatma Gandhi to accomplish this kind of feat. In recognition of his work, Sri has been awarded honorary degrees, honorary doctorates by 12 universities, received honorary citizenship, and given awards for peace and harmony from cities throughout the world, among others. It is a privilege, it is a deep privilege to introduce Sri to the Morehouse College community. After we hear from the Glee Club, the next voice you will hear is that of His Holiness, Sri Ravi Shankar.
Before I commence my speech, I would like to present a piece of silk from India.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And a piece of lotus to the dean.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine bring peace to us, individuals, and the whole world. Honorable Dean Dr. Lawrence Carter, President John Wilson, Bishop Reverend Dr. Barbara King, Reverend John Strickland, Reverend Dr. Gerald Durley, and all other dignitaries who are seated on the stage and those who are in the audience. It's my pleasure to speak to you today on love and forgiveness. You know, this subject is so vast and so great and so basic to, yet so basic to our human existence. So let me see how I can do justice to this topic of love and forgiveness. First of all, love is something that cannot be hidden. You can't hide love, nor can you express it fully. It shows up. It shows up in your eyes, in your smile, in your gestures. You can never hide love. At the same time, you can never fully express love. This is the predicament all lovers around the world have felt. However they express, still they find that I'm not able to express it fully the way I want to. That's the nature of love. Similarly, truth is something which you cannot avoid. You cannot avoid truth. Yet you cannot define truth. Beauty is something which you cannot possess. And you cannot renounce it also. You can never renounce beauty. And life is truth, love, and beauty, all three things together. But what is in our experience? It's the other way around. We don't experience love all the time in our life. We find so many problems. Hatred, jealousy, greed, arrogance. All these negative emotions. If you just look deep into the mechanics of why these negative emotions come up. As a child, we were all born with pure love of God. But what happens as we grow older? Where do we lose this innocence? What happens to us? Then we find that these negative emotions, underneath them is also love. We are angry because we love perfection. All those who love perfection are prone to anger. Because you want things right. Then they're not right, you get angry. Similarly, greed is what? You want more of it. When you want more of the objects, when you think objects are more than people, then you call it greed. When your love for people, a person, is more than the welfare of the person, you call it jealousy. When you love yourself too much, you call it arrogance. Love minus wisdom gives rise to all these negative emotions. Love with wisdom will keep you sane and on the track of divinity. And that's the message of all the reverends who are here, to unite you with wisdom. We don't need to learn how to love. It's in our nature. Love is our nature. Like our body is made up of amino acid, carbohydrates, protein, our spirit is made up of love. We are love. Love is not just an emotion. It is not just some wiggly expression of some sort of emotional outburst. No. Love is our very nature. And to keep it the way it has been bestowed to us by God, we need wisdom. And that's what all the scriptures in the world tell us. In the Hindu scripture it says, the nature of God, asti, bhati, priti, means existence, effulgence, and love. God exists and He is self-effulgent. He is love. Only one God, not too many. Often people think Hindu means many gods. That's not the case, no. It's one God in many costumes. He can express Himself in many forms, but only one God. You know, it's the same wheat. We make croissants, we make cupcakes, and we make bread, and we make bagels. All from the same wheat. Different expression of wheat. In the same way, one divinity expressing Himself in many ways. God is love, and so are we. Somewhere we lost the wisdom. We lost the innocence. We started building walls between us. And then the whole paraphernalia of negative emotions, negative tendencies have started in the world. You know, to develop ourselves, to real prayer, to go into the depth of prayer, we need to take 5 days off. One day we must spend in the prison. You don't have to commit a crime to spend a day in prison. Just go and spend a day in prison. Talk to the prisoners. Those people who have been condemned by the rest of the society, the world, talk to them. You'll find there is a beautiful person hiding inside each one of them. Inside every culprit, there is a victim crying for help. You'll feel that forgiveness comes within you spontaneously. When you see from a wide-angle lens, a culprit is also a victim. When you see the victimhood in a culprit, you don't need to forgive. Forgiveness happens. In fact, compassion arises in our hearts. Lack of understanding, wrong education, wrong indoctrination, sometimes emotional outbursts. You know, we don't know how to control our rage and anger and frustration. So when uncontrolled emotions springs into action, becomes a crime. It's a wisdom that checks the uncontrolled emotion, that makes you think before you act. Crime happens when you act and then later on think about it. and you forgive those who have committed mistakes. Intentionally, if it's wrong understanding, a wrong ideology, unintentionally due to lack of awareness. These are the two positions that someone commits a crime, commits a mistake. Lack of wisdom is a lack of happiness, lack of that connection, inner connection with the one divinity makes someone do a mistake. Someone who is happy, who is content, who is all love, will not go and harm anybody else. It is impossible. If someone is harming others, it's because there is a deep wound or scar inside of them that need to be healed. So one day in prison would be a very good idea. It will expand our awareness, make us understand those people who need forgiveness. Then forgiveness becomes easier for us. Then one day in hospital, you see people who are sick and suffering, then you thank God for the health that you have received, the healthy body that you have. Compassion arises within you, gratefulness arises within you. One day as school teacher, especially with challenged children, suppose you have to teach a lesson and they don't learn. It gives you that patience that you are able to accept them and again say the same thing till they learn. An effort to make others understand with patience. This is what we can learn when we spend one day in a school as a teacher. Don't you think so? School teachers is a big challenge. You know, I heard in Europe, in Germany alone, 40% of school teachers are depressed. The statistics says 40% of school teachers are depressed. Just imagine what will happen to those little kids that go to school. They had to see a depressed face all day, come back home depressed. You can only give what you have. You have joy, you give joy. You have love, you give love. And if you are depressed, you can only give depression. You convey depression. This is unfortunate because we don't know how to handle ourselves, our mind, our emotions. One day in school, as a school teacher, will give us enormous patience in life to tolerate ignorance and to teach coming from the space of love. A teacher is one who unconditionally gives love to others. Someone asked me the other day, what do you get by doing all this, what you are doing? Why are you doing? There must be some reason why you are traveling around so many countries, day and night, going, talking to people, conducting this workshop of breathing. What do you get? I asked him, did you watch Life of a Pi? And he said yes. And what did you do after watching the movie? Did you call anybody and tell them that it was so good movie? He said yes. I made several calls to my friends. And I shared with them, it's a great movie, you should see. So did the producer give you some tips for that, money for it? Commission for calling your friends and praising the movie? I said no. The nature of joy is to share. If you find some happiness within you, you would like to share with others. And that's exactly what I'm doing, as it. Nature of love is to share. share and care. So 3 days over. Are you curious about the next 2 days? How many of you are curious to hear about the next 2 more days that we have to? How many of you are not curious? Come on, some of you are not raising hand for both. Huh? Yeah, anyway, I'll say the 4th day that we have to spend is in mental hospital. You spend a day in mental hospital and listen to all the irrelevant talks that people give around you. And you will come out and will see the whole world is like that. Everybody is talking in tangents. And so your buttons cannot be pushed anymore. You feel so strong from inside. You will not get upset because someone passed a derogatory remark on you. You will stand up to criticism. You will take it if there is something in it. And you will be able to give a constructive criticism wherever it is needed. That courage to take in criticism and give back criticism comes to you if you can spend 1 day knowing people are talking irrelevant things. And 1 day with the farmer. Just spend 1 whole day with the farmer in the garden. You will care for this planet. You will care for the earth. You will care for the environment. Today, if we don't take care of our planet, that's it. We won't be able to give this world to our coming generations. And our coming generation, they deserve a better conditions. More pure air, pure water, pure earth. Diseases are on the rise. Why? We have used so many harmful chemicals and fertilizers, pesticides. The nutrition of the earth is drained out. In the American Institute, the Nutritional Institute says how today's bananas grown here have very little nutrition as compared to in 40s or 30s. You might have seen these reports, how we have depleted. Our vegetables are big in size, but they have very little nutritional contents in them, because we have drained our soil with pesticides and chemicals. We need to take care of Mother Earth. Love for the earth, love for the people is same as love for God. They're 2 sides of the same coin. If you say, I love God, but I don't care for His people, it has no meaning. Love gets destroyed when we start demanding. This is what happens usually in a relationship. We fall in love and we fall out of love very soon. Time is very short in between. In and out. It's like breathing in and breathing out. Why? We start demanding. Demand destroys love. I have an advice for the couples here. Whenever you find that one of your spouse attention is less for you, or their love is being expressed less for you, don't ask them, do you really love me? Ask them, why do you love me so much? Our very question should be the other way around. Why do you love me so much? Even if they don't love you, their love for you increases. The burden of proof of love is so big. If someone asks you to prove their love for them, your love for them, it's such a big burden, right? To prove that you really love somebody is a big burden. As I said, love cannot be totally expressed. One strange observation I have seen in the world is in the East, they don't express love at all. They never verbalize love. And in the West, we verbalize love a lot. Every so often we say, honey, 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 and then we become diabetic. In the East, they don't express at all. The whole life will pass. The husband would never have said to his wife, I love you. I think we had to find somewhere in between. It needs to be a good combination of East and West. I feel love should be expressed and at the same time should be hidden also. Because when love is not verbalized too much, it shows up in your action. It comes out in your action. So like a seed, if you sow it so deep in the soil, it can't sprout. If you keep it on the surface of the soil, then also it won't. You need to sow it little bit beneath so that it can sprout and becomes a plant. I feel always we need to express love at the same time, keep it a little bit more inward, inside, so that it oozes out in your action, comes out in your action. When I was a boy, young boy, not that I'm not now, when I was little, I went to tailoring shop to get my shirt stitched. The tailor had, those days there was no machine. They used to do it, sew it by hand. So the needle, he would put it on his cap. He had a cap, he'll put the needle on his cap and the scissor beneath his feet. I said, he has given the message. I said, this man has a message to give. That which cuts, he put it underneath his feet. That which sews and unites, he has put it on the head. He has honored that needle. And there are forces in the world who divide people. They should be put underneath. And there are forces who stitch people or bring people together. They need to be honored. A message a tailor can give you. The whole world is full of message of love. We only need that eye to catch it. We only need that eye to see it, appreciate it, and take it in our own life. So as I said, to the spouse, do not demand love from others. Tell them, I am here for you. What is that you want? I'm here. Not just spouse, I can say that to anybody. And that's what all our learned reverend do when they conduct their mass, when they conduct their prayer sessions, sermons. What do they say? They just channel the love of God. And they express that love. They find all belong to me. That sense of belongingness. That's the supreme act or attitude, both together. So love and forgiveness, they go hand in hand. In fact, forgiveness becomes compassion. It's even much easier. If you have a puppy or a dog in your home, see when you come back home how the dog runs around you, gets so crazy and expresses all its love. It doesn't verbalize anything. It can't, but it expresses the love to you. And the same love is being expressed in the entire creation by trees, by the entire nature. With these few words, I once again thank the Morehouse and the Dean and all the dignitaries for giving me an opportunity to share these few moments with you. I love you all. I am with you. Thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Sri, for coming and sharing with us from your heart. And now I'm very pleased to ask President Wilson to escort Dr. Lawrence Sullivan to the canvas. And I would like to invite Mrs. Sullivan to come to the platform. Here you are. Okay. Lawrence Eugene Sullivan. Please rise. Champion of the indomitable human spirit, creator of enduring global legacies, architect of compendiums for inspirational opportunities, incarnation of the finest tenets of courageous and exemplary leadership, and mentee of Mercy Ecklade and Joseph Kitagawa and Victor Turner. We honor you today not because you are listed among the world's leading scholarly authorities on the study of the world's religions, with one of your books being used at Morehouse College. We honor you not because you have been given the most distinguished and highest awards, medals, and prizes for your published multi-volume achievements internationally and interreligious scholarship. We honor you not because of your 12-volume Religions of Humanity or your 16-volume Encyclopedia of Religion, with scores of scholarly articles in multiple languages, not to mention more than a dozen other books. We honor you today not because you are past president of the American Academy of Religion, not because you are a former Secretary General of the International Association of the History of Religions, not because you were given the rank of commander in the National Order of Merit by the President of Romania, Traian Băsescu himself. We honor you at Morehouse College today because you, more than any other person on the planet, have designed and continue to preside over a program that awards hundreds of millions of dollars annually to actualize, encourage, inspire, support, and teach love and forgiveness in action across national, religious, cultural, racial, gender, and economic boundaries in the tradition of St. Francis of Assisi, Mahatma Gandhi of India, Martin Luther King Jr. of Georgia, Daisaku Ikeda of Japan, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, St. Teresa of Calcutta, and John Fetzer of Kalamazoo. We honor you because you are a builder of Martin Luther King Jr.'s beloved world community, which is the ethical meaning of the reign of God. You are developing patriots as moral cosmopolitans and world citizens who are loyal to each other and not to a flag. And because you are aiding Morehouse College's International Chapel in teaching King to the world, we say you are fit to preside over the celestial treasury and to counsel the archangels in the distribution of eternal rewards. Mr. President, you may unveil the canvas, and then shall the trumpet sound. This past summer, I was in Assisi, Italy, at the invitation of Dr. and Mrs. Sullivan in the Fetzer Institute. There was a large number of us, but I simply would like to say, in my entire life of going to conferences and retreats and advances, I have never been to a conference that was so inspirational, enlightening, and full of revelation. This is an unusual man. The safest place to be today is with somebody who is creative, imaginative, an innovator, and an inventor. The most secure place to be today is with a person who is evolving, who is in a state of becoming. This man is such a person. He speaks multiple languages, speaks Italian fluently, and he is a tremendous master at organization. He turned the entire town, it seemed, of Assisi into a seminar. May God bless you. We're so happy to link your name to Morehouse College. Now remain standing for the singing of our college hymn, after which we'd like our platform party to be seated for the postlude. Then there will be a historic photograph. Please do not rush the stage, but if you wish, you may gather in front of the stage to also take pictures.